They are going to have the fist bump, and the game is gonna start right now. Will he have the Neptabis or not?
Yeah,
That is the
it's always
question.
going to be quite interesting when you see Atlantean Mermail, because I feel they're one of these decks in the current format that sometimes they can be highly represented, sometimes you're well prepared for them, you know exactly what they want to be doing, but then in more recent kind of times, past the Forbidden Limited list, they kind of took a bit of a back seat. They've kind of become this rogue competitive deck. I do feel the deck is very explosive, very, very good, and all of their mandatory effects is one of these points you're going to need to remember. The capabilities to chain block your plays, making sure you have turn player priority, and working into, as we see here.
Yeah, this is a very strong opening because we saw that there is the Abysteus pitching the Dragoon from hand, and then we are able to add two cards, and one of them is very, very, very scary. It is, of course, the card that allows you to watch the opponent's hand, which is very, very strong, and then we are able to see the normal summon, but we know that we are going to go through to the all combo. So I don't know if you're Nicholas right now. You are in a bit of a tough situation.
Yeah, I feel once Thomas was able to kind of look at Nicholas's hand, he probably feels very, very confident right now. Being able to see all of those cards that he may or may not need to face. We do know that the deck is currently maining Mooning Glacier. We also know that they are on the Barrier Statue of Torrents. So the Infinite Impermanence is actually quite an important card here. I know it seems like an interesting ploy, but if you are trying to work your way towards the barrier statue, you want to make sure that it can't be targeted. The last thing you want to happen is that your opponent has access to infinite impermanence, which you know is a guarantee right now, to then be able to activate that on the barrier statue. It looks like Thomas is going to be going for a very, very powerful start. We already saw the Bestial Magnamut in Nicholas's hand, and as my co-commentator Barcode very well said, there is not any targets that can be utilized off of the back of the Bestials. So I would not be surprised if maybe Nicholas takes the risk and sides those out game 2 and maybe even possibly game 3. As keeping in mind with the Maliss strategies, your Bestials can actually activate or utilize themselves as extenders. It looks like we're going to be getting rid of the Maliss, White Rabbit, and the GWC. Two very good cards to be hit from the hand. Ideally on Nicholas's side, he doesn't want to be seeing his GWC in the opening hand. It's probably something you want to be searching a little bit later on. But I feel that we're going to be seeing Thomas relatively steamroll this one here.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to link to the Anemon, the Mermail card, which allows him not only to special summon back a card from the graveyard, but also trying to get rid of the cards in his main monster zone, because he wants to activate the call account effects to get the fish out of the deck. So this is a very strong card. He's able to special summon the Abyss Spike as well as the two other cards, the Greedis, which is a card that we have seen recently, but there is also the Thriller Rapka, which is not usually seen. It is indeed another fish which allows you to negate an attack on a target monster. So this is pretty cool. And now we can see the Prima Donna, which will allow Thomas to get access to the barrier statue of the Torrent by giving back to Nicholas the impermanence in hand, but of course this is not a problem for him, because at that point you pretty much win the entire game.
Yeah, I think we're kind of at the point when you activate Prima Donna and you are returning that card to your opponent, exactly like you said, you don't really have much of an issue being able to turn it back, because you know at that point on, there isn't really anything you need to worry about. You've kind of covered all your bases, you know the full knowledge of the hand, and the ultimate strategy, once you're able to work your way through the Mooning Glacier, through the Minstrel, the only real threat that you need to worry about is if a Drown Lockbird was utilized early stages, which we know is not going to happen.
Absolutely, and here we see a very interesting interaction, because we saw that the White Rabbit was sent to the graveyard earlier with the Mooning Glacier. We will just activate the Magnamut, trying to banish the White Rabbit and trying to get access to some engine, but as the Barrier Statue is on field, he will not be able to special summon back the White Rabbit and to get access to this trap, the MTP-07.
So the question behind that one, that would have been a very, very interesting interaction. Do you preemptively activate the Magnamut? Do you try and activate the Magnamut before the Barrier Statue or even the Prima Donna gets activated? banish exactly as you say. The white rabbit comes back. You do play a very small amount of life points, but you also guarantee you take the MTP-07 out of the decks. You don't draw it for the turn because you definitely don't want to be seeing that card for your draw for turn. You still have that set, and as we remember, a lot of the Maliss trap cards can be activated the turn they are set by banishing another Maliss monster. The other downside of that one is that you wouldn't have direct access to a link monster in order to banish anything on the field, but you would still then again complete this way of slimming down your deck, being able to get the guarantee that you have that starter in your Dormouse, then being able to randomize your draw for the top of the deck to kind of give you as much chance as possible to try and pick this field apart, all before the barrier statue gets into rotation. Even with the Thriller in the graveyard, you still have that ability to attack the barrier statue twice, clear it off the field, and then go from there.
But the main problem is that, to be honest, none of this really matters because Thomas literally has the Poseidra in the extra deck, which is very strong indeed on the second turn, but also on the first turn, as we just saw, because he is able to get rid of the bodies that are on Nicholas' field, because he is able to literally get them back to the hand, and then he's able to summon back 3 monsters from the graveyard. This card is absolutely amazing. Of course, there is the Poseidra from the main deck, but the Poseidra from the extra deck is very, very strong, and right now he is driving. Literally, Thomas is in the driver's seat with the Neptabis, the Link 3, which prevents his opponent to just target the cards that are pointed by this monster. So, you know, yeah, he could literally just try to imperm the barrier, but as the Link 3 is there, he will not be able to get rid of the barrier that way. So this is very, very scary for him, especially because he has a way to just prevent Nicholas to battle the statue. So we will see if Nicholas can do anything. He's trying to imperm, so he's trying to do that, but he cannot do that, as I just said, of course. So Nicholas is just taking back his imperm in hand, and he will just probably realize that there is absolutely no way to get rid of this field. I mean, I'm saying that, and imagine he wins the game.
Yeah, I do feel that, unfortunately for Nicholas, it is a bit of an uphill battle. When you are looking at the current field state, we have the barrier statue pretty much preventing Nicholas from being able to special summon anything that is not a water monster. We also have the Ravenous Krakosaur, which has the ability to discard up to 2 cards from hand, or exactly 2 cards from hand. But then, Forbidden Droplet doesn't target, and that is an incredible draw off the top of the deck.
I didn't think he was playing the Droplet. You know, when I said that, I was like, no way he's playing Droplet in the deck. But he is actually playing the Droplet, and this is a very, very strong card into the Mermail Atlantean field. He's getting rid of the barrier statue, and then he will be able to play. And we saw that he had some cards to play. There is the normal summon March Hare. Is it gonna be enough? And will he have some more cards to just try to extend? We know that there is the Magnamut in hand, so he will probably be able to just activate Magnamut targeting the March Hare, so that he get back the March Hare from the banish from to his hand, and then be able to special summon the March Hare by banishing the trap from the graveyard, because we saw that there was the GWC 06 in the graveyard.
Yeah, very well piloted here from Nicholas. Heart of the cards being able to set themselves up to give them the ability to kind of mitigate this field. It's not completely over. Remember, the cards that the Link 3 currently points to still cannot be targeted. We still have the Dragite, so this Dragite is still going to act as a form of disruption. We also still have the Thriller in the graveyard to protect a Aqua or a Sea Serpent from being attacked, or technically negating the attack. And then we also have the other Mermail in the graveyard that could be banished in order to discard a water and draw a card, which could possibly lead to another form of disruption. So there's still a lot going on. The ultimate question kind of comes down to being able to send a monster and a trap off of the Droplet was incredibly important to make sure the Dragite couldn't respond.
And we see in Thomas' hand that he has access to the infantry, and the infantry is indeed a way to disrupt the opponent, because he has the ability to just banish the Abyss Shrine from the graveyard, trying to draw another card, and then he will of course discard the infantry that will be able then to destroy a card on Nicholas' field, so he still has something to play with.
Yeah, just going back over the Link 3, I'm trying to feel, could we have activated the Infinite Impermanence targeting the Mermail King Neptibus and then chained the Forbidden Droplet. The benefit of doing something like that is because Forbidden Droplet sends as cost, you're able to send the infinite impermanence that you've already activated, meaning that not only do you turn off the targeted protection for the Dragite, you also turn off targeted protection for the Torrent and the Crocosaur. And then in turn of that, using the droplets to negate 2, you could then ultimately end up negating the barrier statue and the Crocosaur. So that with this SP Little Knight, you actually end up banishing the Dragite on top of all of this. So you've cleared the field a little bit more efficiently.
Absolutely, and here we see a very interesting interaction because you know that the Maliss players just want to have 3 bodies on the field so that they can access their Link 3, but here we are getting rid of literally 2 materials because the SP Little Light counts as 2 with the infantry, and Nicholas kinda has to banish his own SP to get it for the next turn and to have kind of something to play with. So here he has to start everything again from scratch, and this is not a very good situation to be in. He's still trying to fight though, and summoning this March here, banishing the GWC 06 as we just said before, but will he have enough bodies to try to access the Link 3? This is pretty hard because yeah, he will just need something like a backup or wizard. Does he have that?
I don't feel that there's any more cards left for Nicholas here. So it looks like we're going to have the trap protection and bringing back SP Little Knight may not be enough with Crocosaur. Now this is going to be very interesting. Does Crocosaur return with its effects intact? Because does that mean the quick effect of the Crocosaur could, in theory, be activated after SP is already returned and the Crocosaur? Which I think is exactly what's going to be happening here. We're going to be using the Crocosaur to deal with the SP Little Knight. The SP Little Knight would not be able to chain its effect.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that is very strong because we are here discarding the Shadow Squad which will be able to special summon Neptabis from the deck to the field, and it's going to be very hard for Nicholas to just stay into this game alive. I think that Thomas is just going to take the first game. He's going to draw for turn and literally just combo off.
I mean,
during the game.
In all fairness, we did say that previously, and Nicholas did absolutely fight teeth and nail to keep himself in this particular duel, working its way before trying to get into duel number 2. I think he played it very, very well. That Forbidden Droplet putting in an incredible line of work, being able to kind of pick this field apart. But as you say, I do feel that, especially when you already have access to the Neptabis, you're being able to open up more of your avenues, triggering off their graveyard effects, working your way into the brand new Atlantean as well. It's just going to set up probably a few more disruptions to clear off that Lingeribo, to then possibly even pushing for the final line of damage that is needed.
I mean, this Lingeribo is very scary. Look at his eyes. Like, he looks very scary. But yeah, here we see the new card, the new Atlantean card, which is very strong, actually, the Poseidra, which allows you to have so much push, you know, when you are going second. And that allows the Atlantean Mermail deck to just be able to break some huge field, like Memento field, like Maliss field, which is something that not a lot of decks are able to do. And now we are going to, of course, enter battle phase and try to push for game. Is there a Bestial or something in hand? I don't think so, but maybe there is just a last line.
Last line of defense. Unfortunately, I feel even with a Bestial, because of the barrier statue of Torrent, that's not going to be much help here. Ultimately, the Crocosaur, I believe, is only 1,500 attack, as there is only one card in the hand. The barrier statue of Torrent is 1,000. Oh, is it not enough for...
Oh yeah, he wasn't able to attack. Because
Mooning Glacier.
Yeah, Mooning Glacier. We didn't talk about that effect precisely, but if you link up the Mooning Glacier which was the case, then there is a big downside, is that you don't have access to your next battle phase. And of course, I totally forgot that, but this is actually the case, and Nicholas still...
matchup.
Yeah, it is. I mean, alone, it is not that much of a big deal because, of course, you have access to the coil account. We can just summon a lot of fishes from the deck, and just you can just combo from that point. But paired with another hand trap, for example, the Impulse or the Impermanence, then it becomes very, very strong and almost impossible for the Mermail player to just go through these interruptions.
Exactly that. So it looks like Nicholas is going to be starting us off by activating Maliss in Underground. just having to think of what we want to be banishing from this one. Do have quite a few good targets on this, but you do need to remember that it's going to adapt your combo line depending on which one you want to be banishing. Do you want to be banishing early doors your White Rabbit? The one big thing that a lot of players don't play anymore is the Maliss trap card that will allow you to summon one from the deck.
TB11.
TB11, thank you very much. So one of the cards that they probably go to a little bit more commonly off of the back of your White Rabbit will be your GWC. You kind of want to utilize that graveyard or banish recursion a lot more. Having a look inside Thomas's hand, from what we can see, there is an infinite impermanence. Doesn't see the value in utilizing it here. I feel with infinite impermanence, you probably want to be waiting a little bit later on. Maybe White Binder at that position, or if we do end up going to a card like Splash Mage, that could be something to be wary of. But as we see the Lingeribo hit in the field, that is also a card that if they are able to play a little bit further and extend that bit further, could actually be a very good protector for you in order to stop any infinite impermanence on your other Link monsters you might need or want to resolve.
Absolutely, and the fact that he chose to banish the White Rabbit just shows that he has another Maliss name in hand, otherwise you would never banish that. So Thomas is kinda like, he cannot do anything because his infinite impermanence is not gonna do something on the White Rabbit. Of course you cut the access to the trap card, but he's gonna get this access anyway with the White Binder later on into the turn. So yeah, if you imperm, then it doesn't matter because you can just normal summon the other name, just go into the Link 2, Splash Mage, and reborn that, and then you just go into the Link 3. So this is very hard. We will see how he will utilize this infinite impermanence, but if he only has that, it will not be enough. But remember that Atlantean Mermail has such a strong engine. We have mentioned earlier the Poseidra from the main deck, the Poseidra from the extra deck, and we know that even if the Maliss combo gets uninterrupted, there is a way to win the game.
Yeah, exactly that. I actually have a... Oh, it looks like there's a Nibiru in that hand as well.
Oh, yeah.
I was instantly about to say, which end field is probably more scary for you?
And there's the Rock. The Rock is coming up huge here because he will, of course, interrupt the opponent. But we have to remember that this infinite impermanence is disabled. Then you cannot utilize that because, of course, you have the monster on the field. So it is, I mean, it is still a victory, but is it enough to just get rid of Nicholas Field? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see there dealing Spider, getting summoned, and we will see the backup adding Nister, which is such a great card to go through the Nibiru. He's going to add the Wizard from deck to the hand, discard a card, and then be able to just keep going on.
Yeah, I think the Nister cards are a great addition to the day. It gives you exactly what was kind of a fear now with less access to your other Maliss names, so the Dormouse, the White Rabbit. You kind of lose a bit of consistency. The backup Agnister has kind of filled that gap, but then exactly as you said, the backup Agnister also provides the ability to play through two of the weaknesses of the current Maliss strategy, being the Nibiru, being the Lancia, and it kind of looks as if that Nibiru never even happened.
He has 4 monsters on the field. He has 4 monsters, so he's going to do literally the same thing. And the Nibiru, like, he's going to have access to the Outscriptor. And one thing which is really, really huge is that he has the ability, if he wants to just go into access code and then be able to banish cards from his own graveyard because there is a card on his opponent's field. Here, he will not choose to do that because he chose to just get rid of the Nibiru using the Outscriptor, but you have to keep that in mind when you are playing Nibiru against Maliss.
Yeah, exactly that. So now we're going to be seeing the brand new March here being able to banish the Chessy Cat, which hasn't been able to use its banish effects yet. So straight like that, we've been able to turn a Nibiru token all the way into a link-free Heartscriptor plus 3 additional Cyverse monsters. I feel we're probably going to be seeing White Binder here. I feel like the White Binder route of play, or eventually we'll see the White Binder, to have that card in rotation and access to it, especially against a Mermail deck that like to utilize their graveyard on a consistent basis and also like to discard cards or send cards as cost sometimes. It can be very, very damaging to lose your graveyard resource. Going all the way into the Red Ransom to guarantee he gets the Malice in Mirror, which he just recycled back with the Heartscriptor, explaining the reason behind utilizing that to get rid of the Nibiru. I do also say you need to be very careful of the Infinite Impermanence though, because as we saw previously, as Nicholas tried to Infinite Impermanence go in second, that's what makes Infinite Impermanence such a good hand trap card, is the ability to be able to utilize it going first and going second to disrupt your opponent as much as you possibly can.
And here he's going to use the GWCO6 and try to get back the red ransom, banishing another name. I think Dormouse wasn't used yet, so he might be using this name.
So bringing back the red ransom, going to be gaining 2,300 life points.
He's not gonna get that because he uses her own effect.
Oh, this is, sorry, apologies. I thought this was off of the GWC.
No worries, I'm here.
You're here to catch. No life points gained.
But that doesn't really matter, of course, because he's just gonna continue comboing. He's using the 3 monsters, and he's going to get access to the white binder, as you said just before. He's going to just banish some cards from the graveyard, especially the Scriptor, who is going to be able to get back to the field, and he's going to set the Maliss trap from the deck or the graveyard. I think here you would like to just get back the GWCO6 set, because this is a way to try to turn around some breakers so that your MTP07 is just well in the deck and that you can get access to that anytime you want.
Yeah, exactly that. I think staring down the 3 Maliss Link monsters is obviously threatening enough as it is, remembering that the Heart Scriptor is going to be incredibly powerful as it currently sits, and there is the White Rabbit already banished, so that is a guaranteed form of disruption, but Maliss players don't like to just stop there with one interruption. We're going to be moving even further forward, being able to reset that GWC from the graveyard, as previously mentioned, working through with White Binder's abilities during our opponent's turn, and going into the allied code Talker.
And this is going to be very interesting because remember, there's still an infinite impermanence in Thomas' hand, so he might use it right now, preventing Nicholas from just summoning back the Link monsters. So yeah, this is kinda good. I mean, of course, you would expect better from activating Nibiru and Impermanence. Remember a few years ago? I mean, it would have done a little bit more, but still, he has a lot of cards in hand.
Is that an impulse? He's just gone for turn.
Yeah, that is absolutely amazing. Thomas might do it because he has access to Poseidra as well, so he will be able to discard the infantry to special summon the Poseidra. So with only 2 cards, he's going to break the field. That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing.
Absolutely incredible. I was half expecting to say GWC, early doors, be able to revive one of your Maliss monsters, in turn being the White Binder, banish Red Ransom, banish Heart Scriptor, and banish one other, revive them all back, and it's as if your allied code talker wasn't even inbound, but I would almost imagine we might be seeing the impulse here to stop the GWC resolving and summoning back. Could be very, very important here, because as you mentioned, I feel this completely clears the entire field. Otherwise, we might be seeing a full Maliss revival.
He's going to activate it. He's going to activate it. He's thinking about that.
There we go.
He will activate the Dominus Impulse water card in the format. Of course, it is very strong into Rise of Mitsurugi, but it also is very strong against the Maliss strategy. Here, it will prevent Nicholas from just summoning back the Link 3, the White Binder.
It seems like we're going to be chaining the Bestial Magnamut or a Druid Swarm. I believe it's a Magnamut in the hand. Ultimately, this is still going to be able to get where we want to go. Very, very good duel in here, because being able to banish something like the White Binder, even though the Impulse has still been utilized, we're going to be able to go a little bit further. And it looks like we're going for Red Ransom instead of the White Binder, which is quite an interesting choice.
Yeah, we decided to banish that one, but still there will be some interruptions, and we will get access to Accord's interruptions, which is of course very good against Mermail, because not only we just negate the activation of the effect, but we also get rid of the monster because it will get banished, which is very good, of course.
Yeah, exactly that. And I feel Nicholas is prioritizing access to the NTP07 in order to set up that banish. I feel that we could have gone for maybe White Binder and then attempt to use White Binder's effect to banish 3. That would have then still got the exact same kind of outcome,
absolutely,
as far as I believe. But again, Nicholas is sitting here in the top 32 and I'm not, so he must know and must have played this route a lot more consistently than I have. Keeping in mind that Thomas is a little bit restricted on resource. We do have Dragoons being able to resolve here to gain back more advantage, try and work into some other strategies. We know that the Poseidra is still very, very threatening on the field. And we're just...
Okay, so we have kind of a win right there. So the impulse is getting back into the hand, and we'll see what's happening right now.
Yeah, so they're just trying to repair the game state. I'll try and see if I can find out why that is the case. Again, trying to see if there's any update as to why this is being rewound. Impulse on the GWC resolving?
Okay, I guess this is just because there is no monsters on Thomas' side. I guess this is that,
okay,
if I remember
yeah.
correctly.
So the Poseidon isn't officially on the field at that exact moment in time.
Ooh.
So big Ash Blossom here on the Dragoons.
This is a great one. Usually Ash Blossom isn't enough to stop the strategy of Thomas, but here we have multiple interruptions because of course we went first, and the Ash is probably gonna be something hard for Thomas to go through.
Do we go to the same place? We still go to the same place. We're still
Yeah.
going to go Red Ransom. We know that I believe the one card left in the hand is the Maliss in Mirror, which is kind of surprising not to have been set previously. I could have lost track on that one, but it looks like the Red Ransom is going to be coming back. We're going to be banishing I can only imagine, the White Rabbit. White Rabbit would then return to the field by paying 300 life points, setting the MTP 07, which gives you the ability to banish a Maliss monster to then add a Maliss monster from the deck. And if you control a Maliss Link monster, you're able to banish a monster on the field, possibly getting rid of that Poseidon so that Thomas can't use it for maybe a Typhon, but also being able to get rid of it before it can become any more threatening or attack over any of the monsters that Nicholas currently has on his field.
But yeah, what a game, and we see that even going first, the Maliss player still, he's not in trouble, but you know, it is not as easy as it could be because the Atlantean Mermail has so much going second, but
Yep.
it is
repeat game one, so that it hopes to kind of get you that win. Or do you keep the Lancer in? And it looks like we're going to be starting straight off with a Perulia, which in my opinion is one of the best Mole Chummy cards to be utilized against the Atlantean strategy.
And here we are going to start with the exact same cards because there is this Abysstos discarding the Dragoon, and both are gonna search a card. The Dragoon, of course, is gonna search a Sea Serpent, and the Abysstos is gonna search another card. You will get access to the Abyss Shrine because this is one of the best cards of the Atlantean Mermail strategy. This card just allows you to special summon or add from the deck to the hand, and it gives you access to either the Poseidon or, of course, the Coilacant, which allows you to play around Droll and Logbird, which is such a big threat for the deck, as you said before.
Yeah, I always find it quite interesting with Perulia, because if you're the Atlantean Mermail player, do you breathe a sigh of relief when a Mole Chummy is played? Because instantly you kind of get that feeling that once a Mole Chummy is played, you go, oh, there's not going to be a draw for the first kind of search that I want to try and make, because you want to, the person that's played the Mole Chummy is going to want to make sure they...
Just as you said that, there is the Droll and Logbird, but as I mentioned before, there is the Abyss right in hand, so he is able to just discard another card and just be able to special summon the Coilacant from the deck, but if there is another interruption, then it will become way harder for Thomas to just go through Nicholas' interruptions. And is there something? There is something. There is the Ash Blossom, which is clutch here. Thomas doesn't have a lot because this is his only tool to just special summon the Coilacant, and now he's on the draw. What can he do? Not a lot, I guess. He might go into something like Abyss Lesia if he's playing it, and I just watch right now that he's not playing it. So maybe he's able to just synchro summon. There is the Changying, of course, that he can do, and he can trigger it whenever he wants with the Abyss Shrine in the graveyard, being able to banish yourself to draw a card on Nicholas' turn. But this is not a lot going into Maliss because, of course, they take advantage of the fact that you are banishing their cards. But here we are going to see the Monoceros, who is able to special summon back a monster from the graveyard, and looks like it is gonna be the greatest, very good monster. But oh, there is the rock, there is the Nibiru. Nicholas just has everything, and Thomas is not gonna recover from that. He has used a lot of tools, and he has not any tools anymore in his hand. I guess this is gonna be it. If Nicholas just has some cards to play, he might just take it all.
Well, that's exactly it. That is the very, very big question. Is Nicholas still needs to have cards to play. Even when you kind of take into account all of the amount of starters that you have, you've got your 2 copies of Dormouse, you've got your 3 copies of Chessy Cat. In theory, you could argue that March Hare is a technical starter alongside the Nibiru.
Yeah.
Then you've got your White Binder and your Terraforming to lead you into your Malice in Underground alongside the Golden Sarcophagus. But also keep in mind that Nicholas has used 4 cards from their hand. There's only 2 more cards left, 1 card to be drawn for turn. You could probably say that an Infinite Impermanence trades 1 for 1 on that one, but it really is going to come down that if there is a Malice access in that hand of Nicholas.
And right now, I think Thomas is just he's just hoping that Nicholas doesn't have everything. But yeah, there is the field spell, there is the Malice in Underground, and Thomas doesn't have anything, Nolan Sia in his hands. So we are going to see the Dormouse banished and getting back on the field. If you have something, Thomas, this is the time or never. You have to do something, maybe an Infinite Impermanence or something like that, because if it is the only starter, then he will not be able to go further unless he has a monster to normal summon. Is there going to be something? Yes, there is going to be something. There is the Infinite Impermanence. Does Nicholas has a normal summon? Does he has like a Drawn Logbird or even a Purulia to normal summon? It would be great because he would be able to still go into the Link 3. We are going to see that in a few moments, but he thinks a lot.
Yeah, unfortunately, just these 2 monsters on the field right now won't get him where he needs to go. You need 2 Cyverse in order to get to Splash Mage, and I don't believe many people are going to be utilizing the Hagar Lizardos anymore. Cyverse Wicked also needs to. Dart the Dark Charmer probably isn't going to be putting any work into this one as of yet. Haven't seen any Dark Monsters be utilized. Speak of the devil, Dart the Dark Charmer. Was there a Dark Monster used? I don't believe there was.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. And there is no way.
March
but
Hare.
there is the March Hare right now. So he's going to find a way to go into the Link 3, banishing the Dormouse. Of course, the Dormouse is not going to be able to get back into the field. But there is the March Hare, and now he can extend. Does Thomas has anything in hand that can save him?
Yeah, unfortunately for this one, it does look like Nicholas had a very, very good hand. Thomas tried his very best, and I think he's going to be risking it all off this draw.
He has the infantry! He has the infantry. It was the last card in hand, so he can discard it with the Abyss Shrine, getting access to another card because he's going to draw a card, which is an interruption as we saw. But the infantry is going to be able to destroy a face-up card from Nicholas, and here it is, of course, going to be the March Hare.
No more extension from Nicholas on this one. It is just going to be set 1 and pass. Remember that Nibiru stats are actually pretty quite high. So having that Dart the Dark Charmer left in attack is not the most appealing thing for Nicholas to have. I can't imagine there is a Typhon. There definitely isn't a Typhon amongst his extra deck. And there was not 2 summons from the extra deck from Thomas anyway to be utilized. Does Thomas draw anything for turn that can allow him to push further?
And this is one thing that we haven't mentioned about Atlantean Mermail, but this is quite a glass cannon deck. So once you have used everything on your turn 1, it is very hard to try to start again in turn 3 because most of the combos are 2 cards combos, and we saw that there is a trap card in Thomas' hand. So it might be an Imperm or an Impulse, but it is definitely not something that can help him combo. We see here the battle phase coming from Thomas, and he is going to be able to inflict a lot of damages to Nicholas' life points, but the problem is that he's going to give Nicholas access to some more engine because of the Dark Charmer effect.
Yeah, exactly that. I feel that this is something you might not mind as much. I feel that it's going to be putting Nicholas under a little bit of pressure because he's going to have to be very careful on his life points, how much he gains and how much he loses. Currently sitting at 3,350, being able to search directly into another Malice name, which looks like a possibility of Dormouse.
I really hope for Thomas that the trap card that we saw is an Impulse. Otherwise, it is going to be very difficult for him to survive in this game. Nicholas is starting his turn, and he has almost everything he wants to just
I feel we're going to be seeing an Imperm. Yeah, there is an Imperm on this one. Imperm Direct on Dormouse. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately from this one, the Imperm is in the same column as Nicholas's set card, and Nicholas didn't chain it, which means it is going to be offline for the remainder of this turn. It kind of looks like we're back and forth. Again, you don't want your Dormouse left in attack. If there is no way for Nicholas to get this off the field or get a card to the defense position, that Nibiru might be the final one, and it looks like we conceded.